Well, hey, y'all. Welcome on back. We're, things sure are getting scary in this fantasy world and not at all in real life. So, Buck, why don't you tell us what we're doing today? I can't.
You know, we're playing A Weekend in Poveglia, our Gothic horror campaign. So, as a nice change of pace, everyone will be filled with existential dread today. To go away from your calm lives that exist outside of this and to something that is truly
our emotional support Canadian is here. We share him.
yeah your emotional support Canadian is here.
And he's going to torment us tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, look, forget your troubles, forget your cares. Maestro di Prisone is here to take care of you.
We're not going to talk about what that actually means.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to A Weekend in Poveglia, our Gothic horror mini-series special. I, as always, am your benevolent Maestro di Prisone, Puck. And I am joined today by these familiar reskins of characters that you might know very well. Starting with our good friend, the amazing Kashano, joining us today. And of course, we have the lady Nora von Fehrenbach joining us as well. I put my music up. And then, of course, we have the recently widowed Miss Lilith Cantante joining us as well. And then, of course, we have our friend, world traveler and studier of medical silence, Miss Jill Faulkner, joining us today. And we have our dear friend, also a medical professional of sorts, fleeing the deep cold in England, Mr. Penton Wright, joining us today as well. When last we left our party attendees, they were invited to a party, as I just said, on the island of Poveglia. It's fine. It's fine. They were invited to a party on the island of Poveglia by a mysterious individual known as Mr. Cesare Prati. Now, Cesare Prati has recently purchased the island of Poveglia with the intent of selling portions of it off to investors that he has invited to this party to get a taste of what the island has to offer. The island itself is a small place just off the coast of Venice. And our party attendees made their way to the island via ship and arrived to find a number of other colorful characters lurking about the place as well. A party ensued, a small tour was enjoyed, but some of our guests experienced unusual visions. Just as everyone was setting down for dinner, there was an accident. It appears at the boathouse, where they store all of the vessels for traveling to and from the island, there was an explosion. Someone, perhaps who didn't know how to properly handle petroleum products, caused an explosion, and one of the workers, scarred and disheveled, stumbled in, interrupting the entire dinner. Everyone was quite frightened by this whole thing, as it was a ghastly scene. Jill and Penton went off to the makeshift ruins of the island's old hospital to assist the wounded however they could. Meanwhile, the amazing Kashano, Nora, and Lilith stayed at the main guest house connected to the living quarters as things unfolded there. And that is where we rejoin what is going on here. In the grand ballroom hall a room, as we remember, decorated in dark marble, with a large, extravagant fireplace and wall-to-wall cases, cabinets, and bookshelves showing the various treasures that Cesare Prati has gathered on his various journeys. Our party is left here in a murmuring room full of uncertain party guests, as Cesare Prati desperately tries to repair the tatters of his presentation this evening. You are now free to move about the scene. Kishano, Nora, Lilith, you are all still in the main hall. People are finishing up dinner and it's being cleaned up, and there are a number of workers available to begin escorting you all to your living quarters once you are ready. Mr. Cesare is frantically answering questions as fast as he can. You can tell that he's a bit frantic at this moment. And of course, his assistant, Mr. Precht, is helping him wherever he can, and directing workers as well.
I feel like a lot of those questions are coming from Kishano. Just,
Very well.
But how can you guarantee any sort of security in an investment in this sort of place? I mean, we've been here a mere matter of hours, and already there's horrible injuries, I'm sure. An explosion in the boathouse? What is this? Come on.
My apologies. Absolutely, I understand your concern. This is unacceptable.
I should say so, and it's not my concern you should be concerned about. It's Mrs. Gresham. She was prepared to write a considerable check to this place, but it appears, though, that's not going to be such a good idea. Risk all of her family's inheritance on such a 2-bit fly-by-night operation.
I understand, but Mr. Kishano, I'm sure you could tell your benefactor that when dealing on the very cutting edge of human innovation, there is bound to be some hiccups.
Innovation, I'm sure.
Now, that is not an excuse, but it is a realization that we must all accept. To move forward requires sacrifice. That means we must leave our zones of comfort. Sometimes that can be frightening, and sometimes sacrifices must be made. Now, certainly my thoughts go out to all of the men who have been injured in this accident, and I pray that no one has lost their lives.
So there were injuries!
Well, certainly, Mr. Kishano, we saw that poor man come in here.
I'm just reiterating the point. I totally remembered that.
But I ask all of you, have you not had workers injured in your own personal financial endeavors? Who here has a perfect record for anything that we do? I doubt any of us do.
Well,
those of us who seek the edge of what humanity is capable of find that sometimes the occasional person falls off. This is to be mourned, certainly, but it cannot stymie our attempts to move further.
Signor Prati, I'm sure you would very much like to paint this as a simple accident, a human error in the name of progress, but we've all heard the rumors about this place. The word curse has been said more than once.
Curses are not real, Mr. Kishano. I understand that you dabble in these things, but I have been to many cursed places in my travels, and yet I stand before you.
Yes, that itself.
Were these curses had substance, I would not be able to offer you this opportunity on this island. Is this not true?
Well, I do more than dabble, Signor Prati, and I dare say that curses come in many forms, and travel on many backs.
Well, perhaps, but I do not put much stock in such things. You are free to have your own beliefs. But I believe that we should leave those old superstitions behind. If we cling to them, there will be a weight that drags us down and keeps us from becoming our better selves. Fear is the enemy, and we cannot allow it to conquer our forward progression. Wouldn't you all agree? And at this point,
Lilith and Nora to get a read. Yeah.
Yeah, Russ is like, yeah, I didn't quit drilling the moment two of them boys burnt up, and I ain't gonna quit now.
I'm going to lean into Kashano and whisper to him, Senor Prati is a hypocrite.
Indeed,
We should
he
talk
is.
about it later.
I say very loudly.
Don't say it loudly. I elbow him.
He is exercising a fair amount of caution, but not enough, I say.
Right, yeah.
The rain is still going.
That.
My dear guests, please, I will offer any explanations that you require throughout the evening. As it seems the storm has turned, I'm sure it will be gone by morning. Please, finish your meals, finish your drinks. Your rooms are prepared with all of the luxuries Poveglia has to offer. At which point, I will re-engage my presentation in the morning, once we have had a chance to make sure that everything is secure and safe for all of you.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but after the display earlier, I've lost my appetite. I'll stand up. If anyone cares to join me for a drink, I'd be happy to have more discussion.
I'll go.
Yeah, I look
I'll
over at
go.
Nora.
I'm getting up.
And yeah, we'll kind of... Is there like a parlor or just like a separate kind of area of the dining room that has a bar?
Just kind of a separate area. It's kind of just this large kind of commons area that they've set up. It's clear that a lot of the construction has gone into kind of creating this opulent setting for you guys to kind of mill about in and mingle in.
All right. Yeah, so I'll make a show of going over to wherever like this sitting area is and waving down one of the servants.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll go with him to conspire.
Actually, I'll stay. See if I overhear anything interesting.
Very well. So, Kashano and Nora, the moment you wave your hand, it is Mr. Precht who comes over with a tray of drinks for you. Almost immediately.
I'll grab whatever's on there and pound it back, put it down, and grab another one.
All
And have a
right.
seat.
I grab whatever's on
So-
it and don't drink it at all. Just to have.
You are welcome to help yourselves to all that Poveglia has to offer throughout the weekend. Again, our deepest apologies.
Yes. Indeed. And then,
And then he, once he has served you all, he takes off again.
okay. If no one else has come there to join us, when Nora sits down, I'll lean in. So, what do you know?
Senor Prati's a contradiction. He talks a very pretty game about progress and ending superstition, but I've heard things that are counter to that, and I have suspicions about what he's planning to do with the island. And I lean in closer to look around. What do you know of the Hellfire Club?
Oh, is that something I might know about?
I don't know.
The
I'm
circles
certain you
are-
can roll some
Might.
dice and I can tell you things.
What kind of dice?
History dice.
A history dice. That is a nat 20.
Oh,
21, baby.
sir.
Oh, I'm gonna be so suspicious that you know about the Hellfire Club.
I'm the president of the Hellfire.
You know
That's
so
not
much
good.
about the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was there are a ton of legends about the Hellfire Club. They're more commonly known as the Monks of St. Francis. But that's not what they are. Members of the Hellfire Club include various high-ranking nobles, and they have operated out of a noble estate in England for quite some time. There are only rumors about what goes on at these meetings, but it was rumored that, notable American Ben Franklin was a member of the Hellfire Club during the time that he spent in Europe. As well as a number of other people, including the Earl of Sandwich.
Yes, Lady Farenbach. Because he's the kind of guy who would try to pronounce names like that. You don't travel in my circles without hearing quite a few things about quite a few such organizations. Is he a member?
I've heard rumors that he is, and, well, if you know of it, you know that it's a organization steeped in superstition. There's rumors of pagan rituals and satanic sacrifices and... What's a respectable word for orgies?
I think orgy's fine. All of the other alternatives that I know are much less respectable.
It doesn't square with his talk of progress. The Hellfire Club is regressive and superstitious, and I've heard he's trying to open a chapter here on the island, despite his protestations that he has no idea what to do here.
I don't know if I'd be quite so quick to jump to those conclusions. I mean, the rumors about various such organizations, secret societies, if you will, abound and vary greatly, but one thing I heard from many of them is that they maintain the appearance of superstitions simply as, let's say for image purposes or gatekeeping, making sure that someone is a member when they ask by the knowledge of such things. That's not to say that there isn't very strange things going on. I can say with certainty there are quite a few wealthy individuals, especially those of old nobility, who subscribe to some wild beliefs.
Well, I'm sure you would know all about using superstition as an image protection.
I mean, look, we have to make brand pivots from time to time, and there's a reason I've moved more into the stage illusionist side of things. Getting deep into those circles, let's just say it gets strange.
Regardless of what Prouty's true beliefs are, I know that you've been interested in possibly investing in the island, and especially the reputation that comes with it. I heard you ask him about it, and I think he should be warned of the rumors about the Hellfire Club. I don't think it's something any respectable gentleman should get involved in.
Well, I appreciate both your concern and that you would view me as a respectable gentleman. I myself have heard a few rumors about Signor Prati. It was said that he was quite ill and took a sudden turn for the better.
I heard that too. He mentioned to me and Lady Lilith a statue was involved too. More superstition that he claims isn't. But
He claims
continue.
He claims it isn't superstition. He claims this statue actually had healing powers.
No, he claimed that it was superstition to believe it had healing powers, and yet he still said it was his favorite artifact he had here. Again, contradictions on top of contradictions.
here's what I'm wondering. If there is something nefarious going on, why would he choose this place? If it's truly an ordinary island, he's got no interest in any of the rumors about it. Why choose here? It seemed that he bought this island very shortly after recovering from his illness.
Interesting.
And I'm certain that he wouldn't have bought it sight unseen. Surely he visited before purchasing. The timing's a bit interesting.
Interesting.
Meanwhile,
I trust him less and less.
Kashano or
back with
Prati?
Lilith.
Prati. I trust Kashano a little bit more.
Back with Lilith, staying near Prati and listening to the rest of the conversation. Lilith, you notice quite readily that the people that come up to Mr. Prati, of course, there's Russ Turnbull, who comes up and says, "Oh, don't feel bad, Mr. Prati. Stuff like this happens. You know, workers, you tell them safety stuff, it goes in one ear, right out the other. These kinds of things are bound to happen. Boys will be boys, as we say where I come from." And just thank you very much, Mr. Turnbull. I appreciate your understanding in this. And Mr. Tullio, do not worry too much, Mr. Prati. As a descendant of great conquistadors, I understand that sometimes you need to make sacrifices to get the things that are really important in life. I am unmoved by these things. I say we stick around and see what the island has to offer. It seems that we have little choice. Sir Hubert is the last one to kind of come up to Mr. Prati and be like, "Oh, hey there, good boy. Sometimes you get a little bump in the road in the middle of a grand presentation, but we cannot allow that to impede our progress forward. It is as you say, good sir." But Lilith, if you could make a perception check.
While you're going through the list of people, I'm actually taking notes.
Proud of you.
You
Right?
should,
I got
you should take
Russ
the note
Turnbull.
and put them
I
on the
got
inside of your
Tullio.
fan.
And I also got Sue Hubert. I'm ready this time.
All right.
All right, you said perception?
Yes, please. What? What did I do?
Did it go through?
This is a thunderstorm. I have no control over anything. I haven't received anything yet.
Oh, it kicked me out.
Uh-oh.
All right, hold on.
All right.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, we'll let you log back into the game.
Come on. Loading? Okay, we're getting there.
All right.
All right. And again. Oh, and it was a good roll, too, in D&D Beyond. I'm so sad.
Well, what did you get?
It was a
Just tell me, and I'll.
It was a
and I'll
19.
believe you. With your
Really?
19, yes, I'll believe you. I trust you. We played together for a long time, Lilith. I'll believe you this time.
Yay!
You notice that Miss Francesca Simone.
Francesca's the one that roasted Kashano and knocked him, right? I mean,
yes, that,
Penton.
yes, that is the one. The very same.
Sweet.
She is off to the side, speaking with the Hound sisters. She seems uninterested in the goings-on for the evening, and instead is conversing with the three Hound sisters.
Am I able to, like, eavesdrop
Well, you can
Or are they
certainly
too far
try.
away?
Would you like to make a stealth check to get closer and see if they notice you?
I guess so. Let's do this. So many rolls. Woo!
Oh yeah, no, look, we're gonna play D&D. This is happening. All right.
I go through.
So, oh yeah, I
It's
went
14.
through. You got a 17. Or you 14?
did?
Not a 17. No, you got 14. I overshot it a
17.
little bit. No, that sounded really good. I wish you would have got it. But
Oh, 14's not enough when he said, I wish you got it. Good.
so you step over, getting a bit closer to this conversation. You can hear but whispers initially. And then you only catch the end of it. And you hear Miss Lady Simone say, I would like for you to keep this quiet.
Francesca Simone, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you hear Sally Hound, the eldest of the three Hound sisters, seemingly the only one that ever speaks, say, Of course, Lady Simone. We will keep this all very discreet. And Lady Simone departs for her bedroom. As she steps away from the Hound sisters, she waves a hand as if to summon someone. And Mr. Precht rushes to her side to escort her to her room.
I'm gonna stealthily try to follow them. This is getting fun.
All right.
I will try to carry like a bottle with me and I don't know, I'm gonna use it as a prop if I get caught and just say liquor got to me. I don't know where I'm going. So, I don't know. So I'm just gonna look like I'm wandering, but I'm gonna try to follow.
Oh, Miss Cantante, are you going to your room? Tulio comes over to you.
Oh, Tulio, I don't believe we've spoken.
I have not yet had the pleasure, although I have been thinking about it all evening, I must confess.
Oh, well, quite flattered.
You want to find out what is up with between Mr. Precht and Miss Simone, huh?
You saw that too? You find that odd? Are they together?
Tulio has very keen eyes. I think that maybe we could keep an eye on them. I will be your alibi, you will be mine.
Oh, Tulio. Sounds exciting. I'm for this.
I knew that you had a heart for the adventure. Come, let us see where this road leads. And he reaches out his arm for you.
Does he have an idea of where I'm trying to go? Does he have that kind of intuition?
He kind of like nudges towards the direction where they're going.
He leads the way.
Very well. And Tulio Rodrigo moves along with you through the hallways. And just as you are exiting the ballroom, he says, do not worry, Miss Cantante. I, as a proper Spanish gentleman, will escort you to your room.
Oh! How kind of you! Right, okay. Can't do much with him on my arm right now. I go to my room.
No, once you guys are out of sight of everybody, he says, "We're not actually going to your room. This is what I said to confuse everyone. So that we think that we went to your room."
I knew that.
Come, they're getting away.
Ah, crap. That's
is
me
all right.
drunk. I drunk that.
That is on Tulio. I phrase it in a confusing way. Now then, come, we must, we will tail them.
Yes, we will. And the alcohol's getting to me a little bit. This girl's very
This is
strong.
fine. I had a few drinks myself.
Okay. Keep leading.
In Tulio and Lilith tail Miss Lady Simone and Mr. Precht. Meanwhile,
Oh, right. This is happening.
yeah, back at the hospital. So, this man is actually, that's not good music for that. This is what we want. So, this man is screaming and like flailing his arms. Things are scattering everywhere. He's knocking crap all over the place. This is 2 bodies down. What do you guys do?
Jill's gonna say, "Hold him down," and she restrain him, and then she's gonna yell, "Gentlemen, get in here! Help!"
Which one? They're both screaming. Or that one's screaming.
Just the one.
Yeah.
It's not the one we're cutting into, though, right?
No.
No.
So do you want me to hold him down or him down?
The screaming one that's flailing!
I don't. All right, fine. I drop whatever leg I'm holding on this other dude, and I walk over to the other table and start trying to grab moving parts, I guess.
All right, sir, give me an athletics check.
Oh, boy. There's athletics. I never use it, so I don't know where the button is.
It's right up top.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
That's a
So
9.
this man flails about, and he hits you for 3 damage.
Oh, God!
You take a hard smack to a face with a splinter-covered arm burnt to a crisp as this man flails about on a table. And immediately after you've been hit and knocked back, the blood begins to flow from your nose. Your head is ringing from the smack as this man's rabid flailing in pain as a group of workers rushes in and grasps this man and attempts to hold him down. While this is being done, Jill, could you make a medicine check to get that arm off?
That's an 8.
Okay, so...
What a medical team.
I'm very distracted. There's a lot happening.
This shit went sideways real quick.
That's what I want you to know. That's with a +6. I rolled a 2.
That's awesome. So you have mangled this man's arm.
Great.
It's as the blade starts to go into the flesh, it's like trying to cut an overcooked turkey. The muscle and the flesh and the skin is just kind of coming off the bone in all kinds of directions. Rather than cutting, you're just kind of moving and shifting it around, causing blood and all manner of unhealthy fluids to flow from the burns. Meanwhile, Penn has been rattled against the wall from a punch to the face, and this group of men are screaming as they're trying to hold down their burnt comrade. What are you guys going to do? This is utter chaos unfolding.
I've still got to cut this guy's arm off, and the other one. I have to cut both arms off, right?
Yep. Well, just the one arm and one leg, because it's all down one side.
Oh, an arm and a leg.
You're getting blood in my blood. I need that to not. Ugh. And I'll go.
You'll be fine. Get over here. Help me. Help me hold him. The arm is moving around too much. I can't steady it.
Oh yeah, that's. Whew. You went to medical school, and I'll grab the arm and kind of hold it tight.
Very well. You are providing assistance to Jill. Jill, please make a advantage medicine check to finish the operation.
Oh,
All right,
second
one more for
in.
advantage. Okay, there we go.
It's a 16.
Okay.
The second one rolled
So,
in D&D.
I see. So, by no means is it your actual best work. Certainly, this is a very stressful situation and a ghastly sight, but you are able to finish it up. You're uncertain if you've made it through the amputation of the arm without infection after that first performance. You'll have to wait and see. However, the leg amputation seems to have gone quite well. You are able to bandage things up, and the man at the end of the table begins to calm down a bit, and he grasps one of his friend workers, whispers something to him a few times, and breathes his last.
Oh.
And the men begin to pray.
Cool. I'm just gonna kind of like make sure the other two of them are both actually dead now.
All right. Please make a medicine check to make sure that both of the other men are actually dead.
Can we do one for each, or just?
Just give me a bulk for the other two. Okay.
It's 18.
You're pretty sure they dead.
Okay.
And I'm trying
okay.
to be respectful, so I'm not talking, but I'm just holding this arm, and there's the window. I'm just gesturing like.
I'll just go over and I'll just like take the arm and like put it somewhere.
There is a
Where?
There is
Where
a
are we
bin
putting
for.
this on?
There's a bin for.
This
medical
we're in a
waste
hospital.
Oh yeah, I
in
guess
this
that's
room.
true. Do they have an arm ward?
No, there is a bin for medical waste in the room, though. Traditionally, Jill, in your experience, these kinds of things would go into a medical waste bin and then be burned at an incinerator.
So put that there. Put the leg in there, and then do you need something for the?
Thank you,
You-
but
you
no,
know,
I
just-
have my own. Yeah, and he digs in his bag and pulls out like a handkerchief, and he'll douse it in something, kind of like. Oh,
Okay,
whew.
great. So are these guys just like chill on the floor praying? Or are they praying around the live guy? What's happening here?
Well, they're praying around their recently deceased friend. You didn't hear what they were whispering. There was far too much commotion.
Okay.
Are they praying out loud?
They are kind of solemnly whispering to themselves as they pray.
I guess I'll wait for them to finish. Before, I'm not going to interrupt a prayer. So,
It takes some time, but eventually they do finish and come to their feet.
okay. Gentlemen, I'm terribly sorry for your losses, but I've done everything I can for him. She points to the amputated one. She's nothing else we can do now but wait. Unfortunately.
Miss, will my brother make it?
I've done everything I can for him. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do now but wait. But he has a better chance than they did.
I see, miss. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you did. My brother would have died if you were not here.
I can't promise you that he still won't, but we'll monitor him and do the best that we can to...
Yes, of course.
Alive.
May I stay with him for the night?
Yes, of course. Fetch me if any problems arise.
Yes, miss. Thank you so much. Please.
Of course.
Please take this. And he pulls something off of his wrist. And puts it into your hand. He kind of holds your hand and puts it into it. Says, please, miss, to protect you.
Okay. And I'll say thank you, and then I'll kind of walk backwards until I'm almost to the door, and then turn and leave.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then what the heck is in my hand?
It is a small silver bracelet. It has a number of symbols on it, and simple kind of stamped out pendant. It has symbols of crosses, stars, and moons on it. You've spent some time in Germany, so you recognize this pretty readily as a symbol of some Austrian orthodoxy. A common charm worn by many peasants to ward off bad luck.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I guess I'll, if nothing else than out of respect, I'll put it on.
Very well. The other men make their way to the workers' quarters.
Okay.
Jill, Hen, where are you guys going?
What are we doing with that arm?
It's in the waste bin. Not right now. We'll deal with it later.
I don't know. I don't disarm men very often.
I find that we are alone in this hospital. We could perhaps use this opportunity to explore and see if maybe some of those rumors, things of the occult, hold any weight.
That's fair. Are you sure you want to do that here? And he'll look up and down the halls, and I'm sure it's just like a dark hallway.
Oh yeah, no, you guys are in the only places that have light and look nice.
Great. I mean, where else? And do I know if Pinton and I work together, would we be able to figure out the best place to kind of look for clues about what happened here?
Well, I mean, you've certainly been to a number of hospitals.
Yeah.
Penton seems to be some kind of hospital enthusiast.
Yeah, because he, he's like, oh, I put this right in the medical waste bin.
I don't know. I'm a student, a medical student. It's different.
It's certainly possible that between the two of you could muster some kind of history check that would lead you to believe where to find some good information might be.
That's an 18 from me.
All right. 18?
Penton.
Oh, do you want me to roll?
I mean,
yeah, sure. You can play Dungeons and Dragons as much as you like, sir.
This is you said history, correct?
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 70.
All right.
There we go.
So, based on both of your knowledge of hospitals, it occurs to you that even given the age of this building, that there should be some kind of isolation ward, and there should definitely be a morgue here.
Or the morgue. Because there's always a morgue. And that's where the
There is
dead
always a
people
morgue.
go.
That's where they
were
store
just
the
with
dead
it.
people.
You were just with a dead person.
Yeah, but he was alive for a minute, and we still don't know why he died. There's not a lot of evidence left behind other than, and he'll kind of whisper because he doesn't want to be rude, other than all the, burnt bits.
Well, yes, but that's evidence in and of itself. Lovely, so should we track down the isolation morgue isolation room or the morgue? Perhaps, would those be in the same area? Like, would they be in the same, side of the hospital?
They'd be in quite
No.
separate areas. The morgue would likely be on the main floor or in the basement, where the isolation ward would have direct access to the courtyard, as it is believed that in order to dispel the toxic miasmas that cause disease, you need lots of fresh air.
Fresh air, yeah. So, which shall we look for first?
My personal belief is that we will most likely find more information. Oh, gosh, actually, they both offer different types of information. Oh,
Indeed.
the morgue will give us more, knowledge on why people were dying here. However, if we wish to know the general afflictions, then I'm not really giving an answer. I'm just giving more information of where we can go.
Yes,
I'm just talking around.
I'm fully cognizant of the fact that you are not in any way helping to make a decision. All right. A coin toss, then.
A coin toss. And I'll dig around in my pocket and see if I have any, pence or anything.
All right.
Or a pound, as it were. Oh, look, there it is. And I'll flip a coin.
Ah!
Roll a D2. Heads or tails? I say tails is the morgue, maybe?
Perfect.
It's probably in the bottom. Hey, wait a minute. Where's the
All
D?
right.
Oh, 1D2. I accidentally rolled a D4, but we'll just say evens
That's
and odds,
fine.
and evens would have been heads, so...
Yeah.
The other place that's not the morgue.
Oh,
But I
okay.
already
All right,
forgot
then.
what it's called.
Very well.
Right?
All right. There we have
So
it.
you guys go looking for an infectious disease ward.
Yep.
Meanwhile, back at the party, where things are nice.
These are nice here. What are you talking about?
Kashano and Nora. You have been conspiring together. And eventually, Mr. Turnbull comes over to you, Kashano.
I feel like by this time, because if we're talking about artifacts, Kashano's gonna start talking about oh yeah, this story behind an artifact and a great power, and he naturally always finds a way to segue it into talking about his act. So he starts telling her about the Obsidian Soul Sever, and
Nora is smiling and nodding very kindly.
because the key is that you have to tell him all about the sort of history of the object up front in the beginning of the act, because it's not going to be until 3 illusions later that you finally get to the finale, So, and Russ comes.
Russ comes over and says, "Hey, Mr. Kashano,
Oh, good. Yeah. Yes.
Good to see you're not too freaked out by this whole situation.
Hey, at the end of the last episode, I think I kind of confided in Russ a little bit. Did I? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Well, you know, it always.
It was actually Tulio that you confided in a bit.
Oh, that was right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good.
Look, that's you don't get to be Maestro di Prigione for nothing. Okay.
Oh no. Well, I'll kind of lean in. It never hurts to stoke the flames of doubt when you're competing for an investment. You know what I mean?
You know where I come from, they say you're a hard ticket. But I think I like that.
Oh, all right. I'll assume that's some manner of compliment. What about yourself?
Well, don't say... I'm just glad to see that you ain't as skittish as you playing off to be. You know, nervous hands ain't nothing to handle a firearm for. I'd still like to go shooting with you tomorrow.
Absolutely. I've always wanted to learn the finer points.
Of course. I imagine we can find some pigeons to shoot out here. Lots of ruins around. Probably find a few.
I mean, sure, I was assuming I'd start with a stationary object, but why not? Right into the fire. Eh?
Don't get anywhere shooting clay ones. You shoot the real ones, teach you how to move and aim. But I'll show you all that tomorrow. Me? I gotta go turn in.
I'll be looking forward to it.
All right. Well, you have yourself a good evening, Mr. Cashano. Miss Fehrenbach.
Mr. Turnbull?
And he takes off.
You know,
and it is at this point that you notice that Lilith, the Hound sisters, Miss Simone, and Precht have all left the party.
Seems to be thinning out a bit here.
Also Tulio.
Did I happen to see Lilith leave with Tulio so I can make fun of her for it later?
Oh, certainly. Give me a perception check.
Did that go through? Yes.
Yes, it did. I'm totally looking at it. There we go. 11. You caught a glimpse of them out of the corner of your eye, moving in towards the direction of the exit.
That's enough for me to make fun of her later.
Oh yeah, this is sufficient.
Yeah, this is all I need.
Very well.
Yes, you know, I've been thinking of incorporating some gun tricks in, but I mean, truth be told, I wouldn't actually need to know how to fire the thing. You just gotta look like you can. Similar to
just find the trick of it.
Knife trick. Yeah, I can't imagine it would be the least bit safe to use live ammunition on stage. Madness.
Would be more exciting, though.
It certainly would. However, you want to create the illusion of danger without actually putting yourself or your, partners in any sort of real. It's the illusion of danger that creates the excitement. And honestly, I found that the more blood and gore you can present, the better. I mean, for example, so when we get to the climax of the trick, is that I actually remove my assistant's head, which by this point I've already explained, if done with the sword, should channel her spirit into my own body or the sword. You kind of leave it vague, maybe change it up, you don't want the same story going around.
I feel like it's lacking something when you're just trying to describe it. I feel like I'm missing the whole picture. It just doesn't quite sound that impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, it's difficult to describe. It's one of those things that really must be experienced. If you're ever around when I'm on tour, once we finish up here, I can certainly save you a seat.
I don't get out much. I doubt you'll be performing anywhere near me.
I mean, we'll be in Paris in a few months if you'd find it worthy of making the trip.
I guess France isn't too far from the Black Forest. I mean, it is right over the border, but Paris is a little ways up. But if I can get to Italy, I might be able to get to Paris.
Well, I shall save the best seat in the house for you either way.
I look forward to being convinced of your great and amazing magical abilities.
I highly doubt you'll be convinced of my magical abilities, but it is a fantastic show nonetheless.
We'll aim for just entertained, then.
That I can promise. Is anyone else in this room?
All that is left here is Sir Hubert, who is sitting in a large lounge chair by the fire, sipping a brandy.
What do you make of that one? Seems a real old money blue blood type.
Yeah, and he wasn't really flustered at all by the hubbub.
No. Then again, many of his ilk spend the time so zonked out on opium, they're lucky to notice anyone shouting the name.
True. Maybe that's how he's getting through this weekend.
Could be. Should we go and chat?
Let's go.
Yeah, make our way over and find a
Very
seat
well.
nearby.
So Kashano and Nora head over to chat with Sir Hubert.
Oh, he has a
Meanwhile, yes, Sir Hubert has a cat, apparently. He's just meowing.
cat. He brings with him everywhere.
The cats just show up in places. Look, they just arrive. It's a mystery. Meanwhile, Lilith is chasing down Mr. Precht and Lady Simone with Tulio Rodrigo. And Tulio has locked arms with you and is just kind of walking you through the hallways, keeping a fair distance back, far enough back that they do not hear your footsteps. And you go room by room, and it's a beautifully set up hallway. There's a fine Persian rug that lines the entirety of it. It goes on forever, and the rooms seem to be quite large as the doors are spaced fairly far apart. And eventually, Lady Simone and Mr. Precht stop in front of what seems to be Lady Simone's room. And then Tulio says, "Quick, come with me." And he moves over to a door. And this is not his room. It appears to be the room of Sir Hubert, according to the name card. And then you notice Tulio unlocks the room using some tools that he has in his pocket. And slips inside. This will be our hideaway, huh?
Indeed it will be. Aren't you handy?
I used to have to escape my father's estate to see some more, less gentlemanly sporting events. I maintained a few tricks that I learned along the way.
I required you to unlock a...
Well, of course they wouldn't let me out, of course. I had to find my way.
You're locked in your own room.
Yes, you
That's
know how it is.
horrid.
Surely you grew up in the same kind of life. They lock you away sometimes just to make sure that you don't embarrass the family.
Partly true.
So he
Or they
quickly
just want to
closes
wait
the...
for you and you.
Oh, of course.
Go ahead.
He closes the door behind you guys, and on the door there's the small black peephole door, and he opens it up, and he says, "What can you see?" And he tries to peer out and tries to make room for you to look out as well.
I need to do perception?
You can see them actually fairly clearly. They're about 2 doors down. And they seem to be whispering something in front of the door. You notice
chance
that...
you can read lips?
Not in Italian.
Alright, what were you
But I am very good with lips, Miss Cantante. Perhaps I can show you another time. But and then you notice there's a... You didn't notice this while you were walking behind them, but as they're standing face to face, there is a stark contrast. Mr. Precht is a full foot shorter than Lady Simone. She towers over him. And he opens up her door. And she walks in and then turns back. And she closes her fan and puts it under his chin and tilts it up. And they share a long kiss before she retreats into her room. And he starts walking towards your guys' door. And Tulio says, "Quick, close the door."
Sneaking around is fun. What is that?
That is Mr. Precht walking by.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sounds like it's gone.
How very scandalous. I must congratulate Mr. Precht.
Curious, though. Do you think it's mutual? Or is she taking him for a ride?
Well, it looked pretty mutual to me. And after I watched the way she treated the other men at the party, I wonder what Mr. Precht has over her.
You'd be surprised what a woman can do when she's on the stage. Behind closed doors, Mr. Tullio. That's what we need to see. Oh no. Did Hubert just come in?
No. You heard that from the hallway.
That would have been really awkward.
What are you doing here?
I'm sorry, it's not good. What?
You hear that from the hallway.
Okay.
Did anyone else go to their rooms?
Think someone else was following behind? I hear that.
Someone is out there. Open the door, take a look.
Oh. Okay, careful now. Taking a look. Can I look underneath the door, the seam of the door?
Of course.
To like see shoes? Don't judge
Absolutely.
me.
No, can you bend down?
You gotta do what you gotta do when you sneak.
Alright.
Tullio, bend over and look down the seam of the door. I'm messing with you. Just keep going. Sorry, fuck.
Oh, no, look, it's fine. If you want to check the seam of the door, you get down low. Tullio helps you out as best he can.
You could just do it. Oh my god. Okay, fine. I'm down. I said what I said.
You peek out the bottom of the door.
Mm-hmm.
And you see 2 heavily mudded boots standing outside the door, facing the door. And you can see red spots dripping onto this fine rug in front of the door. What is it? What do you see?
Should have shut his mouth.
A hammering on the door. We cannot hide in here. It's okay. Let me face them.
There's blood. There's blood. There's blood on his fucking shoe. Blood.
Then we will face this man. And he pulls a dagger out of his belt.
You can go face him. Fine. I'm going under the bed.
And he swings open the door.
I'm hiding!
The hallway is empty.
Oh.
There is no one here.
You're not dead.
No. You heard the
Maybe he
knocking
ran.
as well.
Yes.
There are no
I didn't just
footprints.
hear.
No, Tulio. When I took a peek under the door, I saw muddy shoes covered in blood.
Come over and see. There is no blood. There is no mud.
I bunch up her dress and just keep walking. Like, wait a minute now.
He like helps you to your feet. And you see
I go and I look.
You see a perfectly clean rug outside the door.
Tulio, I'm not crazy. You and I both heard a noise.
I heard the knocking as well.
And I saw
This is
something
very
that
unsettling.
went with a knock.
Come, let's get out of this room before Sir Hubert comes back. We don't want to have to explain ourselves.
Right. I need a drink.
Miss Cantante,
Yes.
would you like me to accompany you to your room for real? This has been a disturbing set of events.
Yes, please. Very, very unsettling indeed.
Very well.
But there's more that I'd like
I
to
will come
discuss
with
with you.
Of course.
I thank you, good sir.
It is my pleasure. And he continues to escort Lilith to her room. And they leave behind dear Sir Hubert's room. While back at the party, actually, we'll check back in with Gilbetta and Penn. Jill, Penton, you are scrambling about the ruins of this place. The terrain is treacherous, to say the least.
Right.
Massive sections of this place have rotted away, a side effect of the salty, briny air on the Aegean Sea and the long exposure without upkeep. Portions of the old concrete are crumbling in sections. As you walk along the first floor, you can see holes in the ceiling that lead up to upper areas. Your knowledge of hospitals leads you to believe that you're headed in the right direction. And eventually you come across a room lined with white bed frames. Some of them still collections of springs and mattress filling laying on top. But whatever comforts that were here have long since rotted away. The empty beds all have wheels, and directly in front of each of the beds are massive bay doors that lead out to a concrete platform in the courtyard. This is not unusual, as in most infectious care wards, there are apparatus in place that allow people to wheel the sick out into the open air to give them relief from the toxic miasmas that cause their infections.
Great.
And there are a number of cabinets and desks in small, crumbling, isolated rooms here. The bay doors, of course, are barely hanging on the hinges. Most of the windows are broken. The ones that aren't broken are terribly stained. As the thunder and lightning crackles, the light flashes through the windows, casting shadows on this dark room.
Love that.
I have an important question.
All
This
right.
is due to my lack of research. I apologize. But at this time period, were people even remotely like, maybe I shouldn't breathe the air directly in this place where all these infected people were? Like, would they at least think to put like a cloth on their face or something?
Oh, certainly medical professionals here protected themselves from the toxic miasmas that were infecting the ill.
Yeah. I'll take a cloth, like bandana or something out of my medical bag and tie that around my face and be like, you can't be too careful.
That's fine. It's been years, but, you know, could be lingering things, I guess.
Evil never
Um,
dies. And I'll step foot in the doorway.
That's
Dust off that old
Alright.
chestnut from Friday the 13th or something.
right.
Evil never
Right.
dies. Starts Friday.
This summer. All right. So yeah, I guess we'll go in. Just kind of looking around for any information on how they were trying to treat this, what it might have been, any like old paperwork and anything like stuff like that.
Certainly. Do an investigation check.
Great. I would love to.
You may both certainly do that.
That's a 16 for
Ooh,
me.
that's a good number. Oh, that's also a good
Is
number.
also a 16 for me. I'm probably mainly looking through cabinets and stuff.
So, you start looking through all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Jill, you find an old wooden desk. It's nearly rotted all the way through, but as you move through it, the large center drawer, as you pull it out slowly, reveals a collection of rotted, crumbling papers, but one of them stands out very clearly, although it is quite stained. It has an anatomy drawing on it of what appears to be an adult male. And then the drawing has had added to it indications, doodles that would lead you to believe that the doctor was documenting the locations of sores that have appeared on the body. And they have appeared throughout the hands and wrist. And most unusually, he documents that they've begun to show up behind the ears.
Okay.
Most of the documentation on this has been rotted away, but there is a small portion in Italian. You see illusions, phantoms.
And is that on the same like paper as this drawing, or is it like shoved in the
same piece of paper as the drawing. It's right next to it in the notes. The portions that you can read, of course.
Yeah. Great. So I'll take like all of this paper.
Just like, yep. This is going in the
bag.
old evidence bag. Then you open up a bunch of cupboards. And in one of the cupboards, on a broken down shelf, and so you open it up and the center shelf is broken off of its holdings and has tilted to the side. And as you open it up, broken glass kind of tumbles to the ground. But there is one jar in the corner of this slanted shelf, and it's pressed up against the wall in the side of the shelf. And it appears to be full of some kind of green liquid. And there's something floating inside of it.
I guess I have like a Zippo or whatever of the time, a tinder box,
a lantern of sorts. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and I'll pick up this green jar and kind of examine it a little closer in the light.
Absolutely. There's a hand floating in this.
Of course, there.
It appears to be preserved in something.
Oh,
Oh man.
whatever will I call you? We'll deal with that later. What? Why? Does it have like any markings on the lid? Like, is there anything to indicate what this is?
There are no markings on it at all. But you can tell that this hand was medically amputated and is covered in sores.
Gross.
I imagine when I heard this,
A bunch of rubble collapses near the front of entrance of this room. And a light shines on you all from a lantern. It is Mr. Precht.
Oh, hello, Mr. Crack.
Hey, what's up,
Under
buddy?
my coat.
Miss Faulkner, Mr. Wright, please return to your rooms. It is not safe out here. We would like to be sure that everybody is resting comfortably.
Yes, of course. Sorry, we just heard, thought there might have been some useful supplies to help with the man upstairs or downstairs. I don't know. I don't know what floor this is on, but
I think we're on the
You're
first
still
floor
on the
still.
main floor.
oh, okay. We thought there might be some useful supplies to help with the man down the hall.
I see. Was there
there's-
anything that you were lacking? I can see that it is provided for you.
No, just it's one of those situations where I don't know what I'm looking for until I see it.
Very well. I encourage you to give Mr. Pratty a full list of the latest facilities that you require to do your profession these days. I'm sure he would be
Yes,
quite
of course.
interested.
Of course. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will escort the two of you to your room.
Yes, why, thank you. You're lovely. And there's just the whole walk back, there's just looks at Penton like,
Well, I still had this thing in my. So I was like, oh, this is Mr. Precht. No, this is Mr. Precht. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, Mr.
Your
Precht,
tour guide.
Did you check that door behind you, and I'll kind of gesture out in the hall. And does he turn around and look at it?
Do a deception check, sir.
I've got this hand under my coat in my hand. I don't know what to do. Deception.
God.
He looks behind him.
And as soon as he does, it's just like, whoop, and put that in my bag.
What was it? What did you roll?
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Yeah. He got a nat 20. So he looks behind him.
Yeah, that's in my bag, and then I'll be like, I don't know, I just thought I saw something back there a minute ago, and you were already there, so I guess it's nothing, and I'll clasp my bag and pick it up.
My apologies, sir. Please refrain. If you do go exploring again, do not go onto the second floor of the hospital. It is very dangerous.
Now I really want to go there.
We're gunning for the second floor now.
I'm absolutely gonna go there now. What? Are you kidding me?
Do not take from the candy tree.
What?
There's a
Can't
candy
say
tree.
something like that. You've already caught these people exploring where they weren't supposed to be, and you offer them treats of information like that? What are you thinking?
It is in your best interest for your safety. Mr. Pratty is insistent on restoring the hospital, but work on it has not taken priority over the living arrangements in the main hall. We simply have constructed it enough to emergency care for any injuries that might happen for the weekend.
Yes,
So we ask that you please remain on the main floor.
Yes, of course. Is it structural issues on the second floor? Or?
The building is rotting away. We still have not replaced a lot of the building materials.
I understand. All right. I suppose we shall get back to the living quarters now.
Of course, I will take you there. And he escorts the two of you back through the rain to your respective rooms.
Yep.
Before he leaves, I'll say, Mr. Precht.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, how did you find us?
Well, I asked the young man who was looking after his brother where you had gone, and he insisted that you were still in the hospital, so I went looking for you.
Of course. All right, well, do have a good night. I think I need a drink.
You as well. If you need anything, there is a button in your room that will call me.
Of course.
Thank you and good
Goodbye.
night. All right. And he departs, leaving the two of you in your rooms. Meanwhile, back at the party. Well, what remains of the party? The after party, as it were.
Indeed.
Is
Excuse me, I don't believe we've been properly introduced. I am the amazing Kashano, and out of nowhere, he's a little card trick.
Ha! Good show! Yes! Ha ha ha!
Finally, someone
Very
who
nice!
appreciates showmanship.
Have
Have you been introduced?
I do appreciate a good trick.
Fantastic. Have you been introduced to Miss Farron? Sorry. It is Miss, is it not?
It is, miss.
Miss Farrenbach.
I don't
yes,
think we have
Miss
been
Farron.
properly introduced.
I doubt that we have. My apologies. I am Sir Hubert Grandhelm. It is a pleasure to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you too. I'm Lady von Fehrenbach.
Yes. I have heard some tell of your family. quite prestigious, although a little isolated.
And Nora instantly, stiffens. And is like, oh, that's... What have you heard, specifically?
Oh, just little things. I hear that you're quite the one to watch. You know, I'm a bit of a social climber.
I'm sure to keep you in my good graces then, because I'm only just getting out in society myself, so it's good to hear that you've heard good things then.
Ah, yes, of course. One only has his reputation, of course.
Indeed, and I'm trying to build mine.
Yes. Well, you'll not hear any bad things from me, Miss Fehrenbach. I am a proper Englishman, and I will not speak ill of a lady.
It's very kind of you. Thank you, sir.
Speaking of reputations, what do you make of this place thus far?
Oh, goodness. A lot of pomp and superstition over nothing, really.
Of course.
It is a fine island, of course. Good soil.
But are you not afraid that the reputation may make it a liability of an investment?
Ah. If you're simply growing food out here, there's not much room for liability. I see room for an excellent farm out here. Good soil, good produce. No one's going to be worried about a haunted potato.
Well, you'd be surprised at things people worry about.
Specifically, what haunting of potatoes are you worried about?
Oh, goodness. I apologize, I must have spoken out of turn. Some of the locals believe that this island is full of bad spirits, as it were. But, as a proper Englishman, I've had my fair share of those.
Well, I do polite and very convincing laugh.
Yes. I'm glad someone appreciates my dry humor.
Oh, yes. Dry like your English gin. I have to say, though, if you were simply looking to grow potatoes, why would he... Well, of this? Why invite wealthy investors? I agree, it would be a great use for land nobody else wants, but it doesn't seem to be his design.
Not entirely certain. I'm not a showy person myself. But I do certainly appreciate the effort. It reminds me of the old days where you had to impress members of the gentry in order to do business.
Of course.
I rather like it. These days it's all wham bam, exchange money and papers. Nobody's willing to engage in the old methods of maintaining a proper relationship, impressing those you wish to do business with, and showing them that you have something real to offer.
What do you think it is he has to offer? I don't believe that he would be talking of moving into the future if he was simply looking to farm.
Well, it's certainly a lot of bluster here, but at the end of the day, he's simply a man with land to sell. And I dare say I'm looking to buy.
Are you sure that a farm would be the highest and best use for such a historied piece of real estate?
Perhaps not, but... What is that?
Progress through potatoes.
Well, everyone needs potatoes. And of course, not just potatoes. I'm sure we can grow a number of different vegetables here as well. Perhaps it is a bit selfish of me, but a nice piece of land, a bit of proper English vegetables to send back and forth, and a fine cottage for me to retire on. Personally, I can't think of anything better.
Perhaps. I'm just saying it might be a waste to throw away such a interesting story that could be capitalized on quite easily. Just because you yourself don't believe in superstitions surrounding a place like this doesn't mean that others won't, and that there won't be a great deal of opportunity in their belief.
Yes. you're considering perhaps one of those houses of oddities, like they have in the Americas.
Not anything quite so boorish as that. Well, I probably shouldn't speak too much. My client would not appreciate me giving away her trade secrets.
Ah, of course, of course. Well, if you're looking to have a bidding war, well, I say may the best man win.
Very well. What about you, Lady von Fehrenbach? Have you given any more thought to your investment here?
Truthfully, I'm not terribly interested in the land here. That's not the investment that brings me here. I have land. I have silver mines in my region. I don't need the wealth or the territory. What I am lacking, though, is social engagements. Allies. You, and gestures to both of them. And this is my investment here. Just coming here.
Ah, well, Miss Fehrenbach, if you are truly not my rival in this investment, then you can certainly count me amongst your allies.
Thank you. I would like that, Sir Hubert.
Ah, well then, it is settled.
Well, seems that we all can be friends, or at very least good-natured rivals. Let's hope.
Oh, of course.
Though, I do have concerns about Signor Prati's, shall I say, mental stability. There were rumors of terrible illness befalling him shortly before he purchased this. Though he does seem to have recovered now. The collection of relics. He's traveled to many strange places where many strange diseases are known to thrive. Who knows whether his mind is riddled with malaria or some other disruption of humors.
Ah, yes. There are a number of nasty things that can happen to folks out abroad. But I'm glad that he has not allowed it to stymie his efforts.
No, of course not. I just, of course wouldn't suggest anything underhanded, but,
Oh, of course.
An investment in a place like this may be better without such a volatile partner. Perhaps there's a way to
Yes.
remove it from under him.
Oh. Well,
Of course, I would never suggest such a thing. I'm merely...
Mr. Kashano, I certainly
Representing-
can't be party to any such thing.
Oh, certainly not.
I have a great deal of respect for this Mr. Pratty. As you know, as a fine Englishman, it is in my blood to search for adventure and exploration. It is why we have charted all over this land, and why the sun never sets on the British Empire.
How do you know Signor Prati?
Oh, I've simply heard of him in stories. I've never gotten to speak with the man and since today. But I must say, he certainly does live up to his legend.
Yes. But then again, we can't put too much stock in legend.
Ah, no, certainly not. We must get out there and see things for ourselves. And that is what I intend to do. But I fear I must be heading off to my room then. I can't just sit around in the fireplace, rotting away of boredom and booze, as they say.
Of course not. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, Sir Hubert. I do hope that we get a chance to explore this place a bit more together.
Oh, a pleasure meeting both of you as well, Mr. Kashano and Miss Fehrenbach. Miss Fehrenbach, my dear ally, and Mr. Kashano, my noble rival, I shall hope.
Well, we shall see.
And he gets up, kind of hoisting his somewhat rotund form out of the lounging chair, and waddles off to his room.
Well, I suppose we perhaps make our separate ways. We don't want anyone talking.
We are the tail end of the party, it seems.
I dare say it's been a pleasure conspiring with you.
This is the most fun I've had in about 3 years.
Well, if tonight's any indication, the rest of the weekend promises to be full of sight. Would you like me to escort you to your room, or would that be inappropriate?
Yes, please. I think that would be appropriate given tonight's circumstances.
So Kashano escorts Miss Fehrenbach off to her room. You step away from a fireplace that is now burnt down to embers and walk across the now empty ballroom hall. All that is left is the last bartender putting away the last of the drinks and glasses for the evening. As you walk by this series of segmented windows that look out over the island of Poveglia, I would ask both of you to make a perception check.
Oh no!
God damn it, I'm gonna go crazy!
Come on, big roll. 18.
17.
As you both
We're
start
both probably gonna
walking
go
past
crazy.
these windows, there's a handprint streaked across the last one that you pass
From the
on the very edge
inside or outside?
outside.
Does it? I mean, it's raining, so this must be a handprint of some sort of viscous substance.
Well, you can certainly investigate or examine it further if you'd like.
Peculiar.
All right. Nope.
I don't feel like
I'm not going crazy from a handprint right now.
I don't feel like Shadow has any reason to.
No, certainly not.
This place is under construction.
And Nora and Kashano go to their rooms for the night. And we're going to take a break right there.
Intense, yo! Oh my gosh, shit's going down. All right.
Lilith's portion was very scary.
Yeah.
See, I was laughing because I just heard, I was like, what the ghost heard when it walked up was Lilith literally talking to this dude, being like, now bend over.
Yep.
Bend over.
Lower.
Lower.
I'm hiding. What are you hiding?
You screaming I'm hiding was very good too. Very sneaky and subtle. No one could have possibly heard you.
Well, my intention was not. I didn't imagine I was screaming it. Oh shoot! Everyone else
I know,
imagined it
it was
differently.
just the perception of it.
Okay,
Everybody
answer the
puts
door.
their own
I'm gonna
spin
go
on
hide.
every situation. So we'll be back in a little bit, guys. We're going to take a little break, and we'll see you in a moment.
We'll be back in 50. Oh, all right. See, now for a while I wasn't quite sure which timeline we were in, but that handprint, yep, things have begun to get a lot spookier before they get better. I can tell you that. Somebody's probably gonna die. I'm not giving anything away though. But hey, Puck, why don't you give some things away and tell us all who we're playing with?
Certainly. I will give you information, the greatest gift of all. Welcome back.
The ultimate currency.
I am a very lucky dungeon master. I am a lucky dungeon master because I get to play cool games with all these incredible people that you see before you. And I like to take this moment after we come back from a break to let them all talk about the various things that they do. And we're going to start with Miss Lilith Cantante. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Hi. I'm Lilith Cantante. I play games on Twitch. I do art on Twitch and on YouTube. Dipperdog15 for my Twitch channel. Bommy Mel Dipperdog on my YouTube. If you guys are into this whole horror shenanigan. I'm currently playing a photorealistic game called Visage. It was just released a few days ago. It is scary, but I'm hanging in there and getting through it. Just have your volumes low, because I scream. There are some scary jump scares. You know what I mean.
You have been warned. Yeah, those pop jumps.
Some pop jumps.
Like they have in the Jack in the Box.
Also, just warning though, if you do want to see it, it is really terrifying. It's got like, I don't know what to say. Just check out Visage to get more information.
You're gonna get spooked.
This isn't another one of those games with a room full of dongs, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No, basically what Puck was doing
traumatized.
earlier. No, the thing that Puck was doing earlier with the whole knocking on the door and just playing through psychological like horror, it's in video game form now. So,
oh, good.
I'm in training for this, Puck.
Oh,
you
awesome.
keep throwing psychological horror crap at me. I'm ready.
I'm gonna crank it right up.
See what you've done now is
Damn it.
you fucked us. You've killed us.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die now.
The Earth has shown everyone that it is ready for a higher class of warfare. Penton, what do you got
Bring
going
it!
on?
Speaking of everyone dying, I would like to use my moment today to talk about my channel, Noctum Sky, but I also want to talk about the fact that Unis Honest is going away in like a week. So if you haven't seen it, go see that. And then go check out my channel, Noctum Sky.
It's always good to give a shout out to the small unknown creators.
Small unknown creators that nobody watches.
Tiny channels. I mean, honestly, like, if you're looking too far in the future watching this, it's gone already. I'm sorry. I've used my time. Thank you. I appreciate all of it.
Someday we will reach the ranks where we can make and delete a YouTube channel as a philosophical gesture.
This is the internet. Somebody's archiving it somewhere.
Yeah. I mean,
Jill,
look, we
what do you got going on?
Would watch it. Hey, it's me.
Ours would actually go away.
Watch Trashman.
Okay.
watch Trashman and watch the Hero Forge video that we released recently.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. We got them shout outs from Hero Forge today. Woo!
Oh, did we?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got and we're showing off all of the new things on the 2.0 Hero Forge. So you can check all that stuff out on it.
Yep.
And also if you watch Trash Bin, you get to see Jill and Penn and me hang around and wait for a blood moon that never showed up because I didn't do the game settings right. Nora, tell us what's going on.
Hi guys, I'm Arcady. You can mostly find me over on Twitter, which is Arcady Cosplay, because I cosplay a bunch. I just did a Halloween shoot, and we'll probably edit more photos, so that's coming up. And let's be real, this week I'm not doing any work. I'm just binge eating my way through a bag of Twix, and I think that's valid. So you should come hang out with me on Twitter while I do that.
That sounds great.
It is. I mean, it would be great if there wasn't
break up the doom scrolling a little bit with say hello.
Yeah, break up the doom scrolling while I eat and like watch me eat Twix. Who wouldn't want that kind of content? For it.
I got like boxes of Halloween candy ready to go.
I'm not even joking. It's right in front of me.
Yeah, I should go get some of that discount post Halloween candy. Yeah, so I'm mostly over here producing stuff. Got some other projects in the works. Still not quite ready to launch, so stay tuned for that news. But yes, we did put out that huge Hero Forge review, which has gotten a great reception. It seems like a lot of people are finding it helpful. Hero Forge also approved of it, though doesn't matter. We make sure they pay us before we make the video so that you don't have to worry about their concern. But no, actually, the 2.0 stuff is real great. And we have some more videos coming out about it. There's going to be one on how to really make take advantage of the paint tools in a way that doesn't actually cost you any money. You can just use their stuff and not pay them anything if you want. And also some advanced posing techniques. So we'll be showing stuff like, how did we make that table on the Puck Mini? Learn all about it. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our Discord, and if you're not a follower here, please join us, because over the coming year, would you say, Puck, we're going to be doing different kinds of things like this, testing the limits of D&D and seeing what sort of other kind of stories and genres.
We're going to take D&D to the edge. Because this is 5th edition. Everything we're doing here is 5th edition. I've just tweaked it. Very slightly. So, when last we left our heroes, our party guests, play the music. I'm sure it'll come around. Oh, wait, I know why. Ha 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 ha. My bad. Come on. All right, never mind. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll fix it on the fly. So when last we left our heroes, they had all gone to their rooms for the evening. And is there anything that you guys want to do before ending your night? I see a lot of nodding heads.
I think just a quick thing when we arrive at Nora's door. Just Lady von Verenbach. I don't want to pry too much, but I couldn't help but notice a bit of unease at the mention of your family.
Not prying, it's well known.
I've somehow missed. What exactly is the issue there?
I don't think this is a conversation for so late at night, but my family is not very kind.
To you, or in general?
No, they're good to me. Well, they were. I'm the only one left at the moment. In general.
Well, perhaps over the course of the next few days, we'll grow acquainted enough to share some of our little secrets.
I hope so. Have a good night.
You as well.
Anyone else? All right. Well, we'll move down the line. We're going to start at Jill.
Okay. Jill, as soon as Mr. Precht is like, oh, whatever, bye, she, waits a few seconds and then immediately goes to Pinton's door. With, a bag, papers and, the bag, with taking her bag with her. And she's
okay, and, how does she just pen?
Yeah.
I imagine there's a scrambling and you hear putting out candles and you hear things moving, and then there's the opening of the door, but the chain is there, and he's
got all this weird face paint on. He's got
yeah, right. There's a demon just chilling on.
Who is it?
How may I help you?
We need to discuss what we found. Let me in. What are you doing? Are you...
What do you could have been literally... Wait a minute. And you hear the door shut and you hear 3 different things coming undone, and he'll open the door and let you in.
Why is there a pentagram on the floor?
That is not... Look. And he kind of smudges it back with his foot. It's that. I'm working. You do your work, and I do mine.
Okay, whatever. Did you find something? I heard glass shatter, and I went to come over to you, but then
And there's a very like
fuckface
hard
showed up,
look
and she
of
throws her hood down, and she's like, "The fuckface showed up."
well, yeah, all right. I mean, I thought he was just a concerned citizen, so I mean, it is kind of weird. We were just out there.
They're trying to hide
Just
something
saying.
from us.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I was trying to ask someone when you barged in here.
Oh well, this won't take long. And she pulls out the papers and like smacks them down on the desk.
Ah, yes, it's some of those medical doodles that the DM was talking about.
The who? The what's it? So
I can't believe he called it that.
these doodles, as you say, indicate that the people that they were quarantining had sores all over them. Particularly on the hands and wrists.
On the hands, and he pulls out a jar.
What's that? Did you find that in there?
I did, and I was gonna just do a seance with it, but you know, here we are now. You're welcome to stay for that part, I guess. But,
I would love to stay for that.
All right. Well, I haven't named him yet. I'm thinking handsome or some kind of hand pun. I'm not sure.
But
I'll figure
seems
it
a bit
out.
on the nose.
I will call him Hand Pun.
Seems a bit on the nose, but yeah, whatever. I think it's fine. Okay, so it has the same sores that they had, that the drawings indicate. Oh, also, it says here you'll see delusions, phantoms. So it seems if maybe the patients were exhibiting signs of delusion and seeing phantoms.
Yes. Well. Yeah. That doesn't sound. I'm not surprised. Many in the scientific community just don't give much credit to modern occultism and their beliefs, but occasionally it's
to
nice
be fair,
to meet people who blend the two, such as myself.
Well, to be fair, I get it, because if you come outright in the scientific community and say these kinds of things, you could kind of be brandished a heretic, and it can put your livelihood at risk. So, to a certain extent, I understand. I'm very... I'm not so open with most people about my beliefs, but you seemed of similar mind, so that's why I told you everything. Why is there whispering? What is happening?
What's that jar? You want me to what?
So can I? And she'll take the jar and kind of look at it, and she'll say, "Can I give you a hand with the seance?"
Oh, thank you. That'll certainly come in handy. Oh, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe that'll be.
Fucking Scooby-Doo team over here.
Anyway,
Zoinks, Jill, I guess we're doing a seance.
I take this very seriously. I have all candles, and I'll relight them all. This is real
and
stuff
handles.
here.
She points to the hand.
Oh. I mean, if it was holding something, I'd give it to you, but he's just in a jar. It seems in poor taste. It's not your fault. And
It's not.
we don't know. We have to figure it out. And I'm gonna sit him right in the middle of the.
Let's do it. I'm here
Is
for
it a pentagram? I guess.
I don't know. I just.
I guess it's a pentagram now.
A pentagram.
Oh, yep. They're Can I die now?
I don't know. Let's roll the dice and see.
It just jumps out the window.
Just like, oh no! And the handprint on the outside of the window is
I
mine.
think he needs to make a wisdom check for that joke.
So, what does this seance look like?
Well, there's a pentagram, and there's candles.
Okay.
And firstly, I'm going around. First, I'm locking all my locks again, and
Okay.
I'm going to search. Gonna look under the bed and in the closet and in all the corners, and I'll turn to Jill and be like, "I had a friend back in school. I believe Cal was his name. He always told me to check the corners for unwanted visitors. Okay, there's nothing behind the curtains. We're fine." So yeah, and I'll sit down and kind of get in position. I'll be like, I'll gesture for Jill to take a seat adjacent to me.
Okay, yep. She's fascinated. So, yep.
And I will pull out my notebook and start reading from just one of the seances that I have done in the past, essentially asking for the spirits to move through and reveal whoever this was, what happened to them, you know, if there's anything still connected or associated that isn't at rest within this, what's left of a body? There's that
All
same
right.
kind of question.
Do you say it just like that?
Do
I want
say
you
it
to
like-
give me. I want you to give me Penton Wright performing
okay.
the seance. Do it.
I mean, that's roughly close, I'm not gonna lie, but sure. Oh, spirits. My companion and I sit before you on this dark, auspicious night. And we come to you to ask that you bequeath us with the knowledge of what has happened here. Something, and I'll gesture at the jar, grim has occurred, and I wish to know, we wish to know, what has befallen this island, what has befallen this, and I'll kind of squint, man, woman, person, can't tell by the hand.
Well, the drawing
So
was of a
please.
man, so I don't know.
That every
I'm
person
here
that has
too.
hands isn't a man.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the drawing of the
Anyway,
doodle was of a man.
we wanted to
Well,
ask you
Next
this
time on
sincerely.
Laurel and Hardy perform a seance.
Ernest scared stupid.
Please reveal these answers to us, mere mortals. And he'll kind of bow his head.
And Jill will follow suit.
And there's silence for a while as you guys sit in a circle around this jar. And then suddenly, a crack forms in your window.
And Penton will run. I'll run over and like look at it.
Is it?
It's a crack.
Oh my god!
Is that on my
Where's
door?
that? Where's that coming? Yeah, where's that coming from?
You hear heavy footsteps outside.
And I guess I'll be like, all right, you watch the crack. I'll go to the door and go under
Okay.
the lock.
And I'm
just,
like
like,
standing
rip
there
the-
looking back and forth between the crack and the jar. And I'm just like,
Rip the door open and just like look out in the hall.
Darkness there, and nothing more.
You can
Tap,
come
tap,
in if
tapping.
you're out here. I open the door.
we
No.
welcome you. Or you. She looks at the crack.
And he'll kind of like, do I hear that? Or is that just obvious?
Is that, yeah, is that...
Did you hear something?
Yeah, there was like some whispers.
Wow, that's odd. What do you think about that?
A crack in the window, sounds in the hall.
Jar hasn't done anything.
Are they trying to lead us somewhere? And I'll kind of look down the hall, like, do I have any idea where the sound was coming from before I go running off into the night?
It sounded like somebody walking past your room.
Walking past. Left,
Which way did they go?
Yeah, that's the...
To the right.
Ah,
Quick, and I'll grab the jar.
of course. Let's go.
Down the hall in the middle of the night. What have we done? Quickly.
I'll grab a candle. Not a pentagram candle, but assuming that Ben has another candle somewhere else in his room.
Do you have any normal candles?
No, because I don't want to mess up the ritual. So I just don't want to grab one that's from the setup that he has.
I'm sure there is a candle, if not like 10, laying around that aren't lit.
So I'll just grab another a regular, normal candle and follow him out the hall. Into the hall.
And I'm running down the hall, football carrying this jar under my arm, running in the night down the hall.
And Jill's right behind him.
So you're running
They
down
went
the
this
hallway
way.
with Jill in tow. And the moment the hallway ends and you round the corner, you nearly bump into Cesare. And as you're taken aback, you can see that Mr. Cesare Pratti is soaking wet. He looks wild-eyed and out of breath.
Mr. Pratti, is everything okay?
Yes. My apologies. Is there something wrong?
No, just performing a seance, like you do.
Alright, well.
I have no secrets.
We heard a noise in the hallway.
You must have heard me running through the halls. I have been going through trying to make sure that all of the guests are okay.
Did you come from... Which way did you come from?
Oh, I was just coming from the opposite direction.
So is the way that he's saying he came from the way that we heard the sound, the footsteps go?
No, it was going in the direction you guys were running to. He was coming towards you.
Okay.
Well, good luck with whatever you're up to. I have to finish what I'm doing. Excuse me, and I start to make.
And Jill goes, "Oh, the crack in the window!" And she runs like.
Oh,
but she follows.
If there's anything that needs to be modified about the accommodations, please let me know.
Thank you. And she just follows.
The crack was there when I got here. I'm not paying for that. Anyway.
Following Penton down the hallway.
All right. So you guys move past Mr. Cesare and you follow Penton down the hallway. Eventually, you guys chase the direction that the sound went all the way until you reach the main hall. It's completely vacant now. The last bits of rain sliding down the windows. And just embers in the fireplace. The whole hall takes a bit of a unsettling air in the darkness, filled with strange artifacts and items from all over the world. Long shadows all over the place, illuminated in the brief flashes of lightning.
Maybe it didn't work? Or
no, I believe maybe. And I'll look at the jar and I'll be like, where are you trying to lead us? I'll shake it a little bit.
You're a hand. You can point if you wanted.
You gave me this.
I know.
Yeah.
Look, I should have known this would happen. I should have known that giving you a severed hand in a jar in a hospital would result with you and Jill talking to that hand all night in the dining hall. I really don't know how I didn't put the two and two together. But the hand continues to be unresponsive, floating in the jar.
Did you mess up the phrase or something?
I never make mistakes when it comes to seances.
Okay, well, there's a first time for everything, apparently. I don't...
And I'll look around. Maybe there was something they were leading us to. You don't suppose it was Mr. Bratty? Although, why was he so wet?
Well, I mean, it is raining outside. So, if he'd come in from outside, then...
Fighting to keep my composure. Yes. Maybe he went to go check on the gentleman at the hospital. It could have been anything. But why him?
Yes.
Or maybe it's something in here. Did you look at any of these curios before?
No. I really hadn't had that much time to explore when the incident occurred, and I went to the hospital with you.
So,
I get a
can I do
how long do you guys want to spend investigating the hall? Are you going to be down here all night, or are you going to eventually go to sleep at some point?
I don't think super long, right? I feel like...
Yeah, no, I feel like we just got the... How long y'all want to do this?
Yeah, I feel like we would look around.
Like, this is an honest question, because if you don't sleep, there's stuff that happens.
I mean, I'll go to sleep. Now. I want to see if we really hit a dead end and there's nothing, and I feel like
if we can't find anything, we would go back. I would go back to his room with him, look over the crack, and see if anything had happened in his room, and then beyond that, just kind of go to bed.
Yeah. All right. Could we make like a check to let us know whether or not we feel like there's still something going on, or if it's just kind of like...
You can certainly make an investigation check.
I was hoping
it's a 17.
There you go. That's a 6. I don't think there's anything going on anymore.
Yeah, Pen's like, I don't know, man. There's nothing going on out here. Jill, you feel as though the trail has gone cold as well. You don't notice anything new or exciting out here. There are a number of different artifacts out in this room. But it does also occur to you with a 17 that if there is something unusual going on here, running around late at night with Penton is definitely highlighting the two of you for unusual behavior.
That seems fun. Penton, I don't think there's anything. I think maybe we were on the right track, but somewhere along the way we've gotten off hand.
Yes, I think I do agree. I'm not really sure there's much else going on out here.
Yeah, let's go see if anything has changed in your room. And then if nothing there, we can reconvene in the morrow.
Fair enough. And yeah, we'll head back to the room, I suppose, and see if the crack's doing anything.
Has it gotten bigger? Smaller?
In the shape of something?
All of your candles have been arranged in rows on your table. And are no longer in the formation that you left them.
And there's just that kind of like slapping on the shoulder, like, look.
I know! It's just like, oh my god! What? That's crazy!
I knew it. I knew there was something afoot. Well, I mean...
I want you to do a history check.
Oh, is that him or...
Just Penton, please.
That's a 20.
Oh my god.
Not natural, but it is a 20.
Penton, you remember if you locked your door or not. Would you have locked your door?
I want to say yes, but I know the answer is no, because I was too excited about the hand in the hallway.
Very well.
Anybody could have come in here and done this, I guess. And I'll to her, I'll be like, we didn't lock the door. I still believe, though, there's something odd going on. And I guess, yeah, after thinking about that, I'll just do a quick look around to make sure that, like, there's no signs of anyone else that wasn't us other than the candles moving.
Not that you can find.
But why would... But even if someone did come in here and do this, why? Why rows of I don't...
Yeah, is there something
Does this
significant
mean anything
about
to you?
I'm trying to find out too. I'm asking, not God, obviously, but you know, whatever I think God is.
Well, you can certainly investigate, sir.
All right.
Help those who help themselves.
What would you like for this? Is this an Arcana? Because it's
You know what? Give me an Arcana check. Let's go with that.
That's a 12.
No human would organize candles in this way. No. This is...
Oh my god.
It appears that they're simply lined up in nice individual rows. They're evenly split, so all the rows are uniform into a nice block, and they've all been extinguished.
This is not... I don't...
Cesare did come behind us. Maybe he thought it was a fire hazard?
Yes, but
Decided to
even
put
if
it
that
all
was
out?
true, why would he rearrange them? And perfectly. Why wouldn't he just
he'll
put
pull
them
out
out?
his notebook. He'll pull out his notebook and like, either the ghost has OCD tendencies or someone moved my candles. I'm not sure. At this point, it's anyone's guess. I'm not...
The only thing we know for certain is that it wasn't us.
Wasn't us. I believe we should sleep on this information and reconvene in the morning.
Yes. Indeed.
Here are your notes, Madam Faulkner, and I'll hand
Thank
the big
you.
book back.
Perhaps we can ask Mr. Pratty just directly if he put your candles out. See what he says. Don't tell him about the rearranging. Just ask him if he put them out and see what he says.
Fair enough.
Good night.
Have a good night, Miss Faulkner.
Good night to you as
Very
well, sir or madam. And she waves at the hand.
So Jill and Penton turn in for the night after going on their own paranormal adventure. Meanwhile, Lilith has been taken to her room by Mr. Tulio Rodrigo. Would you like me to stay with you a while? This has been an unusual evening.
Yes. The event that occurred earlier still gives me goosebumps. Come in. I invite him into my room.
Very well. All right. Tulio comes in.
So
Would
Tulio,
you like something to drink?
What in the world do we have in here in this room?
You find that the room has been stocked with some basic liquors and a bottle of wine.
I'm gonna see if
And
he
What?
will fetch the drink for me.
Oh yeah, he pours up 2 glasses of wine and he walks over and hands you one and takes a seat at one of the chairs in the room.
I'll take a seat as well. If there's
It is
more chairs.
Oh yes. The room is lovely, well appointed. There are 2 chairs. There's a lavish, luxurious bed laid out. There is a dressing wardrobe, a working desk,
Like a master bedroom.
whatever you require. Oh yes.
Okay. Cool.
Now, that was very strange, the way it continued to knock, and there was no one there.
No, there was something there.
Well, I guess we will have to find out what it is.
Perhaps. Tulio,
Yes.
I'm curious to know, what is your real business here? You clearly saw my attention earlier, and you followed me. Without so much of a word of what I was going to, do, you figured it out. What's your intention here, Tulio?
Me, I never like to say no to anything. A message comes in the mail for me. Time to go to a mysterious island to see what is going on. I cannot say no. A beautiful woman asks me to come to her room. I cannot say no. But I also watch. This is something that you learn to do in Spain. You keep an eye on people. You get to know them. You figure out what makes them tick. You must always know what is going on. Or else, you risk getting run over by a bull.
Ah, yes. I know that over in Spain there is quite a celebration over in Madrid, where they release the bulls and you have to run.
Yes, I used to sneak out of my room to go watch it. I had to pay very close attention, all of those people. Watch every move. That's what I learned.
And did you learn anything so far here?
I learned that everyone has secrets. But I did not learn this here.
Have you learned secrets before coming in this island about Sasari?
Nothing we have not heard already. But I'm
Well,
interested to find out.
entertain me. What do you know so far?
I know that Mr. Cesari has an unusual past. I know that Mr. Cesari was supposed to have been dead a few years ago.
Was he now? Are you talking about
So
the
people
illness?
say.
Or is it something else?
They say it was an illness. I do not think so.
That old story. Have you dug anything more into his past beyond that?
A little bit. He was very aggressive in getting this island. You see, the Venetian government did not want to sell it. It used to belong to the Ministry of Health. They did not want to hand it over to him. He worked very hard, hired many lawyers, and he was able to get it. Why would a man fight so hard for such a small island, I ask you? And then invite a bunch of people over to sell it away. Surely there are easier places to buy.
Truly.
The Caribbean is full of islands up for sale. Yet he comes here. Maybe nostalgia for home? Maybe.
What if there's a treasure? There's something on this island that he wanted.
Ah, but then why would he need us?
Maybe he truly didn't believe in the curses that he claimed so. Until he did see something maybe on this island, not just us. And trying to sell it off to one of us, the investors he speak of.
Well, if he wishes to curse me, well, he is going to be disappointed, I'm afraid. I already have too many curses. Weakness for women, weakness for wine, weakness for adventure. I am all cursed up. I do not think I can take another one on.
Well, are you sure about not taking another kind of adventure?
What kind of adventure is this? And I must admit, Miss Kansate, you have me at a disadvantage. You already know that I cannot say no.
Well. Have you ever heard talk that Cesare was a man of poor upbringing? Not one who was born into high society life. Not many usually make that kind of jump.
See, I have not heard this, but I have heard that he is in debt for buying this island.
So he is probably trying to swindle this on us. He's in trouble.
Maybe he just needs us to pay his bills.
To pay his bills? To make us believe that this island's not cursed? After realizing the problem this island has?
It could be any of these things. What I am more concerned about is that man who was outside Sir Hubert's room. I hope he was not looking for him.
Oh. Whatever it was, if it is looking for Sir Hubert, better him than us.
I suppose so. We should check on him tomorrow morning.
We should, but if it's targeting us, it's best we stay close. Would you be interested in forming a partnership with me?
Well, Miss Cantante, you know that I cannot say no to you. So I believe I will be interested.
Lovely. Well, don't give me any room to regret this decision. And I'll let you in on more secrets that might intrigue you.
Ah, Miss Cantante, you tantalize me.
Well, my apologies, I don't try.
No apologies needed.
Now, Sir Tullio, to figure out more to this mystery, I believe we should probably dig into Francesca. She might have a lead to more of this information we're missing about Cesare.
Yes, perhaps she knows more than she is letting on. Let's keep a close eye on her. And maybe we can see if Mr. Precht has anything to say on the matter.
Perhaps. Or the Hellhound sisters, I believe, if they're called that way. Let me check my notes.
No, just the Hound
Just-
Sisters. But I
Just the
understand.
Hound Sisters.
That's it is
One second,
Which-
please.
fiendish that you call them that. But very well. We can leave this as is. Now, Miss Cantante, I fear I must go to my own room. For if I stay much longer, I am going to be interested in more of your secrets. And I do not want to waste the entire weekend so soon.
Ah. The weekend. You make it sound like it's forever. You'd be surprised how short time flies.
Ah, yes.
But yes.
But if you enjoy every moment, then it is not so bad.
Mm. Cheers to that. Well, my apologies for keeping you up so late into the night, Julio.
No apologies necessary, Miss Cantante. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for escorting me to my room. Until the morning.
Ah, any time, Miss Cantante. As I have given you my weakness, I trust that you will use it wisely. And I look forward to
shall.
more of your secrets.
That's good.
Good night to you. And he takes
Run
off.
on there.
And night comes to the island of Poveglia. And everyone gets a restful night's sleep. And in the morning, you all have a nice, restful time. Not too early, around 10 a.m. Servants knock on your doors and let you know that breakfast is being served in the Grand Hall.
Who is it?
Mr. Kashano, breakfast is being served in the Grand Hall.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much. He's just like, what time is it? Goes and opens the curtains.
Bright light
It's all
shining in.
Oh,
Birds singing. It actually looks quite nice out.
Suppose it must have turned in later than I thought. Yep. Cleaned up and go to breakfast.
All right.
I'm totally expecting something weird to be outside the window or in the room.
Nope. Does anybody else want to do anything before heading down to breakfast?
I mean, I guess I'll say bye to the crack in the window.
It's just, crack.
Keep it real. And
and you guys head down into the main hall, where you see everyone is gathered. And there's a number of tables open. Various servings of eggs and sausages are available, along with fresh fruits and slices of braised tomato are laid out for everyone's consumption. And it's kind of an a la carte affair. You can go in and grab whatever you like. Lilith, the first thing that you notice when you get down here, Sir Hubert's not here.
Whoever's close to me, I'm gonna start asking.
Closest to you is Mr. Precht.
All right. Sorry.
Just like turns. Eh.
Alright, alright. Pardon, Senor Brett. Have you seen Sir Hubert this morning?
My apologies, Madam Cantante. Sir Hubert has informed us that he's feeling a bit under the weather and will not be joining us for the day's tour. He says if he feels better, he will join us after lunch.
Is it something contagious? Or he had some food illness, or what?
I don't believe so, ma'am. I believe he just stayed up a little bit late and had too much to drink last night.
I see.
He is the most aged of our guests here this evening. One could forgive him for not having the energy of youth.
Oh, well. I hope you provide him the finest of help to assist him in these hard times.
All that Poveglia has to offer is available to him, madam.
You think he won't be part of the investment in this island, the deals and whatnot? Or...
Well, Mr. Pratty certainly hopes so, madam. But we will keep a close eye on his condition. I'm certain we will see him after lunch today.
Very good. You're dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. And
I'm gonna go look for Tulio.
Certainly, you can go looking for Tulio.
Yeah, you can switch though. If I don't take too much time.
It's gonna be all right. There are actually seating arrangements, so once you have gotten what you like for breakfast, there are round tables and seating arrangements set up. It just so happens the five of you have been set to a seat. It seems to have been done in order that you have come on the ferry, with the idea that you have already gotten to know each other.
I will definitely, before anyone sits down, if I have to sleight of hand a name card to make sure I'm next to Nora.
Such. So, everybody else, are you coming to the breakfast table? Hen, Jill, Nora?
Yep.
I suppose.
I got a parfait.
Is this so? Everybody comes up. Okay, what does everybody get for breakfast? I'm actually interested in this.
Oh, jeez.
Bacon.
Certainly, tell me as you come up with it.
And fruit.
Okay, go ahead, Penton. Okay.
Bacon and fruit and a parfait, and like whatever juice is available.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much bacon and eggs.
All right.
Kashana's got largely a liquid breakfast between like a morning cocktail, a cup of coffee, a glass of juice, and like some toast.
All right.
Nora's got bacon and eggs and like a very strong cup of tea.
Very well. So you all sit down with your normal breakfast assortments, and then Penton sits down with breakfast and dessert.
Oh, and I probably would also orange slices.
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, Mr. Wright, Miss Faulkner, we missed you towards the end of the evening.
Yes, I went to the hospital to help out with the injured.
What was the state of things there?
We had to cut that dude's arm off. It was terrible.
All right, well, I wasn't going to quite do like that to them.
I hated it. There's blood everywhere. This parfait
Stop,
is
please!
delicious.
They're trying to eat. They're trying to eat. Please.
I
I just push my plate of bread and jam and just hold on to my cappuccino.
Okay.
I like to imagine that Jill has like strawberry jelly and she's just like spreading it onto some toast. Yeah, no, it was not a pretty sight. I need to go over at some point and check on the one patient that might have a chance to live, even though I'm not sure what his quality of life will be.
And Penn is trying. I'm sure he's close enough to Jill that he can kind of lean back out of her sight and just be like,
Was there anything strange about it? Does the story seem to hold? It was just a workplace accident? Oh, the injury.
Oh, that story.
Was there another story?
What?
I do love a good story.
It seems that, based on what I saw, I didn't check out the site itself, but I mean, they were just like normal burns that you would expect from an explosion like this, right, Puck?
Yeah, nothing seemed out of place. There were burns and there were shrapnel damage.
Okay.
It's similar to what you'd expect to see a few years ago from men who had been on a ship that was hit with a cannonball.
Okay. Yeah, and the wounds themselves were, burns and shrapnel damage and kind of thing that you would expect to see from what they said the explosion was. I didn't see. One of them, who I had to amputate, one of the other workers was his brother. I know this because he kept bringing it up and trying to get me to save his brother, which I tried my very best to do.
You really did. I feel bad. I mean, he's probably fine. Probably fine.
I will have to check on that today at some point, I hope.
Yes. Quite disturbing. But the hospital was in usable condition?
Well, one part of it was. To be honest, I wanted to explore much more of it, but Mr. Precht came over and retrieved us before we had the chance, really, to get any useful information.
I suppose there's something worth exploring about it? I'm gonna look over
Well,
at Nora,
I mean,
like,
the old building. You never know what kind of discoveries you're going to find in an old building like that.
Ooh, perhaps it would be a great place for a seance.
I elbow Kashano in the ribs.
It's kind of...
Jill just looks at Penton. Jill looks at Penton, and she says, and she looks back at Kashano, and she says, potentially. I mean, many have died there, so,
Yeah, it's all in good fun, Nora.
It's ghoulish.
I don't mean to be so
I beg
familiar.
your pardon, madam.
Lady Fonfair.
It's ghoulish.
I believe it is. Well, if ghoulish it be, then ghoulish be I. I believe a seance is a perfectly reasonable way to try to commune with the dead.
Absolutely.
I did. There was a sound. There was a sound last night that I heard outside my room. Did anyone else hear anything?
Yes, sounds. They do happen in old places. A sound.
There were many people on the way to bed, I'm sure.
Oh, seemed much more sinister. And then out in the hallway, coming the opposite direction, ran into Mr. Pratty himself. Soaking wet, I might add.
It was raining.
Why was he outside at such a late hour?
He seems quite interested in a hands-on role in this place. I'm sure he was probably going to assess the damage himself.
Did you ask why he was out so late?
I was preoccupied at the moment.
Yeah, why were
things
you
going
out
on.
so late?
And why were you together?
Together.
As I said, we were at the hospital.
Cutting off
Amputations.
dudes.
And then you
Okay,
heard
skip on
footsteps outside one of your rooms.
This was when we got back.
Perhaps
Together.
it was Tulio, I say, and glance at
No.
Lilith.
Tulio? Sneaking around at night?
Tulio?
No.
Wait, what?
He was in company with me. I was having a fright.
Oh.
Is that what they're calling it these days?
Oh.
Nora,
Oh.
I do not know what you're trying to imply, my dear.
I think they're trying to imply that y'all were doing, more than company, if you know what I mean.
Actually, I was trying to imply that you two were doing more than company. That was all her.
Oh, what? We're doctors. Doctors don't do that.
Well,
Not
they
according to the plays I've
do.
seen.
But I can assure you, Hinton is not my type.
There is no offense to that. None taken.
Nope.
I am married to my work. Which,
You
by the
describe
way,
this-
and there's,
Go ahead.
oh no,
What?
do go on.
No, go ahead. My apologies. I should
No,
never step
go.
over. No, go.
You listen. You're the one in question here, so maybe you
In question of
should
what?
defend yourself. I mean,
In question of what?
and I look back at the other two who were pointing fingers, and I'm like, I don't know.
Whatever
This
they were
paradox
talking about.
seems to
I'm
think
just
you
gonna
were-
What were you going? Oh my
You're
god.
just
They
gonna
want to
flounder
imply-
I'm going to ask.
If they want to imply that Tulio and I are something more, that's on them. But I will
Yes,
say this:
for shame.
Tulio did give me company for the night because it was downright terrifying with the explosion and a man that apparently died.
Well, there were actually two of them died.
Yes, at least two.
What a dreadful morning talk this is.
What were you? You were going to ask something though before that. Before everyone interrupted you. What?
I forgot.
All right.
Okay, then.
Never mind.
You must move
So at
on
this
because
point-
you don't never know.
I think that she was going to ask something about, like, what did the footsteps sound like?
Yes, I think she was.
So they can
Maybe.
compare notes.
Oh, maybe we can do that. We can go and backtrack to that. Reverse, rewind.
So about those
About them
footsteps,
footsteps, yo.
Tante.
Anyway, so the footsteps that
Yeah,
I
people
heard,
die.
they were farther. They seemed extraordinarily.
Oh, does she sound like she's quiet right now, or is it just me?
Yeah, she's super quiet.
She's quiet.
I don't know
All
why
right.
you went super quiet all of a sudden.
I said the footsteps sounded heavy.
You're good now.
Heavy. Who here do you believe? And I'm looking at all the guests and just the people around here would fit that.
Anyone can.
And I'm also
walk
trying to
around
look
me.
around.
Look, kind of, well,
Yes.
my best guess would be a nod over to Russ or the mysteriously missing Sir Hubert.
Speaking of Hubert, he's actually ill in his room, and you two are doctors, are you not?
One more than the other, but yes.
Well, I mean,
Okay, well, one of you is a doctor. I'm not sure about the medical practices they have going on here, if they even have a doctor at all. If you're the only doctor on this island, I recommend taking a visit to Sir Hubert's room. See what type of illness it is.
What is
He is of
wrong
old
with- what's wrong
age. I don't know. Mr. Pratt
I mean,
wouldn't
that's-
specify exactly.
can't cure
He's
that.
just ill. Well, you won't know if you're just talking to me. You have to go see the patient.
I think.
all right. I feel like this might be a good time to put some cards on the table, as it were, and he'll sit his tarot deck to the side. You four seem to be around a lot. I'm not sure why. I guess it's because we all rode together, but I feel like if anything is to happen to me, that you may all find out about it, so I'd like for you all to be in the know. I have heard rumors of this island long ago having something to do with a plague that arrived on its shore, and many being buried in a mass grave. And now that may be rather macabre for some of your taste, and I kind of glance over at Miss Fehrenbach and Miss Contant.
I'm already leaning back and rolling my eyes at Penn.
When exactly did this happen?
Years ago.
Yes, it wouldn't have been recent, but it still was.
No.
Would have been about
rumored to
60
have
years
happened.
ago the last time.
Yes.
60?
60.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So, now, you may not take any stock in that, but I believe that when many people die in a place, if that is what truly happened, that there tends to be something in the air about the area, whether it be in the hospital, whether it be scientific, and I gesture at Miss Faulkner, or more of the occult, and I kind of tap my staff on the ground. Either way, there is something afoot, and if it is of disease, I would not recommend going around near every coughing person you meet. And I certainly do not intend to go shake hands with Mr. Hubert anytime soon.
And also,
So-
Mr. Cresciano, that's now you can see why I was hoping that we might be able to find information at the hospital. I was hoping that
Perhaps-
they would have some information on us if this is true or not.
And did you find anything?
Miss Lilith, what were you going to say?
I'm concerned if Sir Hubert might have fallen to this disease that Mr. Wright has mentioned.
Highly unlikely, dear.
Yes, highly unlikely. It's been years, but I'm warning you, four. I am also a person 5, that makes. But I am trusting you all to a certain
I am
level of
also human,
discretion.
and thus I am counted amongst the human.
I am hoping that you all will take this information with a certain level of discretion, perfect strangers that I barely know.
Quick question.
Yes,
Is Penn's deck, is it a standard tarot deck, or is it something customized, handmade, or something?
Why, do you want to take a pull at his deck?
It's definitely something I would be familiar with if it were one of the standard
His deck.
arrangements.
I'm sorry. Please continue.
It is a custom deck. It is a bastardization of a few different decks, but it does have a lot of common cards. So you'd probably know at least most of it, if not all of it.
Okay.
But it's just sitting there, so it's...
Well, look. If you're all afraid of an old man's failure to get out of bed, then this is going to be quite a lugubrious weekend. And he'll reach over and grab Penn's deck of cards and pull it back and give it a quick shuffle. But just for fun, let's see what we have in store. And he'll fan it out for Penn.
I don't believe I've ever drawn a card from my own deck before. And he'll
Dipped it around that one there, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Good.
did. I'll pull one out and
Now, I am a close-up magician. I am attempting to make him pull the death card.
Very well. I want you to give me a sleight of hand check. And if you can give me a number higher than 12, you make him pull the death card.
I love it.
That is a 15.
Oh god!
Okay. So I pull death, and I'm like, my old friend. And I'll put that down on the table, and it's death. And this is a real thing. Death just usually indicates like a big change in your life. So I'll be like, change. Something to come.
Yes.
And I'm sure something is on the horizon for us all, and I'll kind of look around the table.
And at that, Mr. Cesari interrupts breakfast and says, "Everyone, I apologize for last night, but I have a number of activities here to show you what Poveglia has to offer, and perhaps take our minds off of this unpleasantness. I hope everyone will join me out in the courtyard for a bit of a secondary tour and a little bit of fun." And as he says that, Tulio walks over to the table and takes Lilith's hand and says, "Viscantante, thank you so much for accompanying me last night. I dare say I had too much to drink and could not find my legs effectively, and you escorted me quite handedly. Thank you very much." And as his hands part way with yours, Lilith, he has left you a note. And we'll find out what's on that note next week on the Weekend in Poveglia.
Ooh. Damn! Intrigue! Romance! Spoopy voices!
Spookums! And that is Poveglia for today.
Obscene puns!
Just one obscene pun is going to get repeated each time Penn pulls out his deck.
Hey, this is not my fault. I mean,
yes, it is.
My fault. But
I mean,
is it my fault
You didn't have to just pull out your deck and slap it down on the table while we're eating breakfast.
Whip it out, asking everyone to take a pull at it.
Would stop asking for it and grabbing.
If you will allow me to pull out my deck at the breakfast table, please, Mr. Wright. There are ladies present.
Great.
Jill hasn't pulled on anybody's deck.
Something about fans. I don't know. Thank you so much for joining us for a weekend in Poveglia. That's all for today. This continues again next Wednesday, so you want to tune into that. You're going to find out what happened to some of these characters, what's going on with it, and be sure to check in with us on Saturday, where you can enjoy Penton Wright in his dark alter ego, his edgy OC character, the Void Caller, along with our special guests, Felix, Dingo Doodles, and Joe Cat, all joining us for Hearts of Darkness 2. And that will be going on this Saturday, November 7th. So be sure to check that out. That will be about the same time as this show started. So that is like, 7:30, 8:30 Eastern. You want to check it out right here on Mercenaries of Mischief. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, we'll see you on the island.
We couldn't trust from the den. We heard my grandpa say with a cough, "Can't wait to dump your bodies in an animal trough." Again! Ha ha! Bugbear, 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 bugbear.